quite a dramatic sky behind me, but quite a nice, peaceful rural scene. Just outside Market Warsaw, small market town where I live in Nottinghamshire. And this has just been earmarked and passed by the planning authorities for building. 400 houses are going here. Yet again, the term Greenbelt means nothing. It's a rather nice looking sky. Big shower just gone past Market Warsaw where I am. Further showers are expected. This is a field, for as long as anybody can ever remember, has always been an arable field. Soon to be arable no more, as the planning application has been passed only a few days ago, and already they're starting to fence it off and prepare it for building. We're losing yet more of our valuable countryside, and the term Greenbelt, which was once sacrosanct land and never to be built on, that's all been torn up. Greenbelt means nothing nowadays. Nowhere is safe, not even your nature reserves, and people want to realise that soon, before there's nothing left. Very soon, Market Warsaw will be connected to the nearby Mansfield Woodhouse. It's now only separated by a few fields. Another 20-30 years, it'll be joined together, and Market Warsaw will be a suburb, more or less, of Mansfield. The particularly sad aspect of this planning application, although quite frankly in my opinion any field being built on is a sad prospect and thought anyway, but what makes this particularly sad is that just the other side of the hedgerow there is the Hills and Holes SSSI. The houses here will ultimately have an effect on that site. There really will be nothing left. Hills and Holes have some very special invertebrates. Some nice butterflies there. And of course now with the increased housing that's going to be on its doorstep, that's all under threat. 400 houses means upwards of 1,200 people. Warsaw can't cope with that as a town, and that side won't be able to help cope with the increased footfall as a result of people moving in. Our countryside is held in very little regard and esteem by the developers and the planners. The only thing that they understand and worship is the pound, and they're getting plenty of that. But you have to question the morals of those who govern us, the councillors, the county councillors, the MPs. All this could be stopped. Trouble is, money talks. Even though I've not found any rarities on the rocky outcrops that are a feature of Hills and Holes, doesn't mean there isn't something really rare. I wouldn't be at all surprised that something lurks here that has not been found, that could be rare and probably the only site in the county for it. However, no matter how rare the rarity, it doesn't make any difference to the planners, the developers, and those approving the plans and the developments. Even if there was a red data book 1 species here, it wouldn't make any difference ultimately. Nothing ever does. When they want the land, they will have the land and they'll build on the land or develop it in some other way, no matter what was here before them. I would imagine that every child that ever grew up in Wartop has been here at some time in their childhood. Obviously, a site like this is ideal for kids. This is one of the quieter bits and more overgrown and shaded bits of Hills and Hollows. It's a cracking thing. Pretty soon though, there'll be a fence going at the top of this outcrop on the left hand side. Makes you wonder whether the residents will insist that it all gets filled in, that it's unsafe for little Johnny and Felicity, and that'd get approved as well. It's very sad. We've got a bit of sunshine. Makes the water look nice. You can certainly see how shallow this River Meaden is just here. Surprised there's no little egret knocking around. But anyway, my plan of attack is to enjoy this view for 5 minutes and then walk up Sucombe Lane, because I'm now stood at the old stone bridge on Sucombe Lane. If you've got a 4x4, you can traverse Sucombe Lane. I've done it once in one of my former cars, and you can end up at Sucombe Village. It's got a fabulous little tiny church. Well, I say fabulous, it's more interesting than fabulous. It's a very tiny little place. And there's a bit of warmth in this sunshine despite the breezy conditions once again. Every day we seem to have trouble with the wind. Well, I've just walked up Sucombe Lane, and this is the second site on which they're going to build. This is directly across Sucombe Lane from the first field that I showed you. Another large field gone, more Greenbelt gone, more countryside gone. But it's not just the field. At the start of any works in preparation, the hedgerows are usually the first to go. And you can almost guarantee that the hedgerow that's just been cut on the left hand side here will soon be gone. Hedgerows aren't wanted anymore by developers, and in 99% of the time by householders. They can't be bothered to cut hedges now, it has to be fences. It's no wonder that your wildlife is disappearing. If you look at any old sort of 1950s and 60s built area, and in fact I'll show you such an example in a minute. At one time of day, the houses and the gardens were all individually hedged. kept nice and trim by the man of the household in most instances. And when you look at how many such hedgerows exist around those houses today, it's shocking. And that's throughout most estates throughout the UK. We've lost thousands and thousands of miles of hedgerows, and people wonder why the birds are going. Plastic guttering and the plastic fascia boards. That's why you're not getting your house martins like you used to. House martins can't build the nests up against plastic fascia boards or UPVC fascia boards. The lack of any gap under the roof space for swifts to get in. That's why you've not got any swifts anymore. Your hirundines, like your house martins, your swallows and your swifts, they've got nowhere to breed when they've flown 6,000 miles to get here. Contrary to popular opinion, we're not very wildlife friendly. It is a perfect example of how our hedgerows have gone within our urban areas. All the outer boundaries and pavement hedges have gone. One time a day, it would have all been hawthorn and privet hedges up here, all either side of the pavement and between individual houses. I can see one from here further down the street. And the front gardens, most of the front gardens are gone now to get these extra cars in. But Hammer Water Drive here is no different to anywhere else. No matter where you live in the UK, chances are you'll only be a few hundred yards at most from any housing development. The rate of houses being built is phenomenal. Can't see it stopping myself. Never would have thought, even in my relatively short life, how much development there would be. Where will it stop? Will it ever stop? Take a look around you where you live, at the place where you live now, because that area won't be like that for much longer. We have no regard whatsoever for history, whether it's archaeological or living history. Doesn't matter. As long as someone can make some money somewhere along the line, that's all well and good. And as I've already said, depending on how I edit this concoction, it doesn't matter what political party is in power at the time. The outcome for the countryside and for development, the priorities given towards development, is always number one. It'll always be given top priority. There will always be the clamour for new houses, social housing. Trouble is, today's social housing usually has 4 or 5 bedrooms. At least that's the planner's idea. A lot of the blame ultimately has to lie at the feet of our politicians, our local councillors, all those that say yes to development. you've certainly made your mark over the years on the great British countryside. Yet again, our Greenbelt land is up for sale.